Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio. So today, we're going to be taking a little bit of a look at a brand new Drednaw card. And I'll be honest with you, up till now, I have been underwhelmed by Drednaw. I was underwhelmed by the one from Sword and Shield, though in a Frostmoth deck against high retreat Pokemon I can see a use for it. I was underwhelmed by the Pokemon V. But right now there's a new Drednaw coming, and I'm not going to sit here and say it's some amazing, phenomenal uber Pokemon, but I am going to say that I do think it looks better than the ones we've had before. Now, our translation comes from the lovely Antoine Boulet, and starting off with the basics, 140 HP is high. We generally expect 120 or 130 on stage 1, and we cross our fingers for 130. Going up to 140 is awesome, and the previous one didn't have this, it only had 130. And then we got a retreat cost of 4, which again is awesome. It means buff padding to give an extra 50 HP, which is something the previous Drednaw didn't have. So we got a higher retreat cost, which going from 3 to 4 is good. We got higher HP. We've still got that same weakness to lightning, which isn't ideal. There are a bunch of Pokemon out there like Raikou Amazing Rare that we do expect to see a bunch of play, and they will be getting you Boo Hiss, etc. But being a water Pokemon is awesome. You've got Capacious Bucket to search out your energy. You've got Frostmoth to attach your energy. You're hitting weakness against all of those pesky Welder decks, which are actually proving to be really good at the moment. And there's that Nessa card that we talked about earlier, yesterday. Depends on the upload schedule. We'll get to that one in a moment. So we like being a water Pokemon, but what does this Drednaw actually do? Well, the main focus here, the one we really care about, is the first attack. 1 water, 2 colorless energy, 80 damage. Meh, couldn't really care less. If you played Nessa from your hand this turn, the opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. Oh, yeah, no, we're good now. We feel very good about this card now. Automatic paralysis. It is not something we see very often. It happens, don't get me wrong, but generally speaking, when we've got paralysis, there tends to be a fairly significant downside. So one of my favourites that we've seen recently is the Pincurchin, the one that came around in Sword and Shield. 2 energy, flip 4 coins, 30 damage for each heads. If at least 2 of them are heads, your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. And if you combine that with Glimwood, Tangle, and David's Thundermass, I did cover this in a video, it essentially gives you a 90% chance of paralysis on the coin flips. It's nice, but it's not automatic paralysis. I mean, honestly, the closest we really get to automatic paralysis, and it certainly works for water decks at the moment, is the Kyurem that came around in Unbroken Bonds, that for free energy does 110, you discard 2 water energy, and there's automatic paralysis. And I had really high hopes for this when combined with Frostmoth, because of course you're discarding energy to attack with Kyurem, but then Frostmoth just allows you to reattach that energy, and you're off and rolling. And in theory, every turn you reattach the energy, and you just keep rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling and doing paralysis after paralysis after paralysis. That sounds fun, but it never ended up being good enough. It's not really seen any play. So then we ask the question of, well, hang on a second, if that one didn't really see any play, how much hope do we have for Drednaw? Still a water Pokemon. Still a decent chance is going to be relying on Frostmoth. Still talking free energy, although it is really worth mentioning here, you do not need to go Frostmoth and free energy. Because you've got 2 colorless energy in here, you can use twin energy, or if you don't mind it falling off at the end of your turn because you're an evolved Pokemon, triple acceleration energy, and that is actually far easier. Kyurem, you basically had to have Frostmoth. Here you can go turn 1 water energy, turn 2 twin energy, and then just start rolling. The issue is you're only getting the paralysis if you've used Nessa. Now the theory essentially becomes, well, anytime you're going to get a KO, Paralysis becomes irrelevant, so that can be a turn you don't use Nessa. And we've got all kinds of tricks for our supporters. We've got poker gear to search our supporters out. We've got Pow Pad to recover them. So I'm not terribly worried. And to be fair, we actually do have Eldegoss and Mewtwo that will get these cards back from your discard pile fairly easily as well. So you know what? I'm kind of alright with having to play Nessa every turn, but then we get into the issue, and we did talk about this in the Nessa video, you need some kind of draw engine. Because remember, every turn you play Nessa is a turn where you're not playing a draw supporter, something like Marnie or Professor's Research Magnolia. So now you need to find something else, and there's plenty of other options out there. Chinchino's one that I like quite a lot. Zeb Striker is unfortunately rotating, which was definitely my favourite. Pidgeotto came out in Team Up. That's not going to be rotating. We've got Oranguru, who is, of course, a basic Pokemon that isn't amazing, but it's decent for a little bit of extra consistency. And bearing in mind, Oranguru swaps a card from your hand with a top card of your deck. So you play Mewtwo. When you bench it, you then grab a supporter from your discard, put it on top of your deck. You then use Oranguru's ability, and you essentially draw that supporter. And then put a card from your hand on top of your deck. So there's ways around it, but I just worry that I've spent the last couple minutes explaining how you can make this work, and I don't know if I can honestly sit here and tell you I like it more than Kyurem. I can tell you it's going to last in the format longer. Kyurem's going to rotate next year, 2021, and this isn't. This has an extra 10 HP and can use buff padding, which is huge. And to be fair, they have different weaknesses, so there's no reason you couldn't just play them together. But they're both probably going to end up using Frostmoth. And they're both big-ish single-prize Pokemon that get automatic paralysis. And the fact of the matter is, a lot of decks are playing a lot of Switch at the moment. Now, a skateboard rotating is actually good for you here, because it's very much worth pointing out that a skateboard lets you retreat when you're paralyzed, but no escape board, no retreating while paralyzed. But it's also worth pointing out that an awful lot of people are starting to put Birdkeeper into their deck, which just means more options for switching. It switches while drawing your free cards. And that's my worry here. It struggles a little bit. It struggles, I struggle, somebody struggles to look at this and go, is it really better than basic Kyurem? And maybe it is. Because Kyurem, you need to have Frostmoth, you need to get the extra energy every turn, you need to get it rolling, and then keep it rolling. Whereas this, all you need is Nessa every turn, and then you're going, and then you're fine. And maybe that is the answer. But my conclusion on this attack basically is, I'm not sure I like it more than Kyurem's attack, and we have had quite a long time for Kyurem to prove it's good, and Kyurem has comprehensively failed. Man, that sounded harsh at the end. Good if I don't talk to my students like that. Hey-ho. Right. Second attack. 4 energy, 140 damage. This is not the main selling point of this card. Now again, 2 energy does mean you can use 2 colorless, twin energy and triple acceleration energy, but I don't think this is something we're going to get excited about. It does give you a higher damage cap. One of the important things comparing this to Kyurem is Kyurem actually does more damage, but then this has the option of doing 140. And I kind of like this-ish. You see, it's all about the numbers. 140 will get a whole bunch of single prize Pokemon, and that's really good. But then we start looking for weakness, and we go, well, what's the most relevant Pokemon we're hitting for weakness right now? And the answer is Centiskorch V and VMAX. They are the best, at least at the moment, water-weak Pokemon we've got. Well, Centiskorch V has 210, so the first attack misses, but the second attack doesn't. You're golden. Worth pointing out, Kyurem will one-hit KO Centiskorch V. But then your second attack here, you are KOing Centiskorch V, but you're not getting the VMAX. The VMAX comes in with 320 HP, which means that your 280 isn't actually enough. But you could do it with 2 of the first attack. Hit for 80 plus paralysis, but it's 160 with weakness, and then hit again, that's 220, there's the KO. Except Centiskorch are going to be playing Heat Fire Energy, so they're unlikely to actually have 320 HP. They're going to have 340 or above, so actually 2 of the first attack won't do, and the second attack comes in and saves your bacon. Sweet. I can see a use for this. I like that you can paralyze and then hit, and paralyze and then hit together will do 220, which is enough to KO a lot of Pokemon, but then you've always got the option to paralyze twice and then do the big attack, and that's up to 300. But then you're giving your opponent 2 turns, after which you've attacked but not KO'd, and they've got the chance to go switching around. And that's my biggest problem here. The energy is kind of awkward, and you're not getting big KOs, you're relying on paralysis in a format with an awful lot of switching, and I just worry that it's not going to end up being good enough. In a world where Kyurem isn't good enough, I still think I'd play that over Drednaw. I can give you, and I have, plenty of reasons why Drednaw should be played over it, but I think when I weigh them up side by side, I still think I go Kyurem. So I suppose it's only fair to give Drednaw between 2 and 3 Wassies. We don't give half Wassies, that would be barbaric. And I think we're still waiting for our first really good Drednaw card, though I would like to be proven wrong. For now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know what you think about this, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, or you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.